In this video, I want to give an overview on the RM timing software. This is going to be a 10,000-foot view on the different parts of the program to be able to give you more options to go into some of the other help videos for more specific questions. First and foremost, you always want to make sure that you're running RM as an administrator. So you can simply do that by typing in RM timing software. You can see the Timing Software Pro. If you right-click on it, you can run it as an administrator. So totally have that option. We use functions in the software to be able to run as an administrator. One of those functions is the updating of the computer time. So when RM opens, and if you're timing, one of the things we always recommend is you click Update Computer Time. This is going to set it to the Google Time Server, and this will allow multiple computers to be able to have the correct internet time. That is a function that is run only as an administrator. So in RM, there's a couple different parts that we have. This upper black window is what we call the bib history window. That is where bibs will show up. Below that is the log window. This gives a record of a lot of the things that are happening in RM. This is used for troubleshooting. It's used for information later on to be able to recap the event to see what's going on. But this is the log window. Below that is your live reader window. Now this pertains to Ethernet connected readers to your software. Nowadays we have smart readers, Race Result, Trident, some other software feed, timing box feed, all these other things do not run through this. This is really for an Ethernet connected timing system to RM. To the left of that is the collect and read settings. So this says, okay, well, if I'm getting a read from one of these Ethernet connected readers, or if I'm typing in a manual entry, what mode am I going to put that in? So that's where your collect and read settings are. Minimum split is if I have a mode that is more than one. How much time needs to elapse before I take split 2 instead of split 1? Pickup rate is how often do we look into these readers to be able to pull the data out. Normally in finish mode, we recommend 0.5 or 1. In start mode, 7 seconds or 10 seconds is fine. In the middle section here, we have different clocks. And if you click on them, this is just something to be able to extend over to an LED monitor if you wanted to. And I'll show a little bit more on the start time video to be able to walk through these specifics. Below that is our network settings. This is how we configure to send from one computer to another, or to be able to start posting results, or to listen from one computer to another. So if we have multiple computers next to each other, we can be recording finish times on one computer, sending them to a results computer. So that gives us redundancy. 2 computers next to each other is a perfectly redundant system. We can go more into that in detail later. Feed Manager, this is how we interact with our online tools. So anything where we have a smart reader that's sending from sending directly from the timing box back to RM, our backup entry screens, software feed if you're sending live from one computer to another. That's where this comes in. Links feed, this is where we send data from RM into Finish Links to be able to use their ComPort and LapTime plugins to be able to have chip data on the screen. Below that, other settings, this is our filters button. This is the buzzer, so this will turn off the sound every time you get a chip read if you find that that's annoying. Auto importing of registrations, this will be toggled on if you are automatically importing every X amount of seconds from a registration provider. Below that are shortcuts. This is a shortcut to the database file, so you can see some of the data that I have in here. This is our backup file. We don't currently have one right now. Our output file, so this is our chip reads, our log file, this is that record of everything that we've done in the software. And then we can open our database path. So this says, where are we saving our database right now? So it gives you that information, and then of course the exit button. To the right, we have our clock, we have our update computer time button, which we've already talked about, and then we have what's called the dashboard. These different buttons. Editing Athlete gives us a lot of information to be able to edit for somebody. So if I bring somebody up, I can edit their information in here, and I can pick a division. Now this version of RM is a clean install, so I don't really have a whole lot of information on here, but this is where you can see dates for gun start times, you can see all of the time columns that are in here. This is a major editing of a person. We can also send this information to another computer like we talked about in network sending and listening. I can also do a quick edit for the same thing. If I bring up that information, this is a quicker editing screen, less information, but the nice thing about this is it's still here while you can be timing. Different information as far as that goes. Looking up an athlete, this is more of the video integration, give you a little bit more info. If you're recording video, then you can see the video of where that chip read happened. Viewing the database, this shows you our database. The database is a 65-column Excel document, essentially, is what we save this as. And this shows you, and it's a great tool to be able to interact with it. You can create different tabs on here to show different information. You can edit them. You can add a new one here, so I could add tab 7 where I just want to show bib number in split 11. Save and apply. There we go. So it would just be bib number in split 11. Again, I don't have data in here, and this is a live updating view. Merging of the database, bringing in another database from RM and updating columns in there, triathlons, remote split points, backups, different things as far as that goes. Your different options as far as merging your database. Setting your start times. This is the one where we can capture a time and we can apply it to a division. Or we can, another really common one is update a chip start prior to the time, the gun time. So there's your chip start times. This will interact with the clocks. There'll be another video on that. Employee notes, very basic information here. If you needed to put something in here, you can put something in there and you can save it. So when this computer is opened again later, this will already be there. Setup Assistant. This is a walkthrough of how to get RM ready for timing the job for this weekend. There's a video on the Setup Assistant that you can check out. Keep in mind, if you run this, it will wipe out all of your information in RM, and it's really only meant to be run once. It's not necessarily meant to be opened on race day morning and rerun this, because it will clear out all of your data. And then checking for updates. This is how we check for updates. It'll check up here for updates, and it'll tell me I already have the latest version. If I didn't, it would say there's an update available, and I can update it there. Below this is my login for RM. Here's my results provider. I can log into a result provider here, and I can pick my event. Again, there's videos about this. I have a race called the Mustang Run coming up, so there it is. I could save and apply that. Same thing here. Registration provider. If I'm pulling registration from a different site, these two do not have to be the same. So that is where I can bring in different information from one and post it to another. So typically those are the same, but yeah, so here's your different information here. So that is how we interact with this here. A couple other things I want to show. There's a button up here in the upper right corner that says Advanced Layout. If I click it, it gives me a compact view. All it does is shrink the screen to be able to give me a little bit more real estate to be able to do other stuff if I wanted to. Everything is still here. I can easily just make that bigger. But that's the way to be able to minimize this for a smaller screen. I can also drag this smaller if I needed to, depending on your screen resolution. That seems to be more of an issue nowadays. A couple of the other things is on the very bottom of the screen, we have our number of database records, our gun starts, chip starts, finishers, and the IP address that RM pulls when it opens. This is key. If this does not match what your readers are, and your Ethernet connecting to a reader, you're never going to be able to connect to that reader. So keep that in mind. You always want to make sure that this is right. I'm going to re-expand my view, and then I'll give a couple other quick overviews, and then you'll be able to go into these in more detail on the individual videos. So under File, you can see these different things, importing your output file, different information as far as that goes, importing from a timing box like a Trident. Editing, you can see your different options here. Advanced Entrant Edit is a big one. That's a big tool that we use. It opens up this. You can read through these different things, but this is where, the husband and wife function, separating one or splitting, swapping bib 1 and bib 2. So very, very common options as far as that goes. Here's result provider settings, result column settings. This is where we configure what we post up to different things to be able to make things visible online. So that's where those are. We have our streamer provider settings. This is where we can send to either a third-party open source sending or our announcer screens. So we have that option as well. So we can send to our online announcer tool. There's a video about that as well. So you can see those different informations as far as that goes under our settings. Finish clock settings. This is if you are using a finish result clock. This is a company, it's called Finish Results, and they make a clock. They make a single or a double-sided clock, but that's the configuration here. This is still in development at this point, but it's a super fun tool to be able to Ethernet connect and send times to and data to. Here's our race info. Here's our divisions. This is where you create your races, 5K, 10K, half marathon, age groups, 1 to 99, whatever. Enter and import, bringing people in either from a spreadsheet or direct from a registration provider. Database, this is viewing the database, saving, editing, loading, updating of the DB dates. This is a common one if you needed to make a correction a week later. Well, all those times are going to have the race day. So you want to update those things to be able to make sure that all of the times are the same so somebody doesn't end up with a 500-hour finish time. Utilities, these are, you can click through these, programming chips, dual frequency chips, active tags, name, age, division check. This is a common one if they have a finish time and there's an error in the database. And you can just look through these. We'll get more information on each of these menu options. Tools, announcer view is the most common one. This is something to be able to drag over to another screen, and that shows you data in real time. At the same point, we have kiosks. We also have scrolling and streaming and rotating results. And our computer config. Chip reads is another huge one. How many chips, how many gun starts, chip starts are there out there? So that's that information there. Reports. There's a whole slew of reports that you can pull here. So I recommend that you kind of walk through these and check them out. Database reports is one of the common ones. Missing finish times, missing start times. The other one is the report generator. We'll make a whole video on just the report generator as well. This is where you can create your own reports. And then under help, we have checking for updates again. We also have help files, which launches the online tool. And the other one is we have the open support ticket. And this is a key one here. So if you ever have a problem with RM, we recommend that you click open support ticket. It'll open this up. You can put the severity on what it is, and you can put a description in here. And when you do this and you hit send support request, what it's going to do is it's going to take all of your pertinent files and it's going to attach it to the email so we can see your issue. You can also add more files by simply clicking this and add the log file from the race day or anything as far as that goes. So when you hit send support ticket, you'll get a confirmation and it'll send us a support ticket. So we'll have that information there. But that is the overview of RM timing software. The different videos will go through the different menu options and we'll be able to give you more information, more detailed information about each of these points. But that is the overview of RM.